Alright, so we are back from UFC 308. So I made a breakdown video and a prediction video before. I actually filmed it yesterday. And as I was going to edit it, I was like, what the heck is that? And turns out the whole video, my face is not in focus. So I made sure this time that I am in focus. Alright, so UFC 308 just went down to Poirier and Max Holloway. So, let's crack into things. Let's talk about it. What happened? We'll talk about most of the card because the card was an absolute banger. It didn't disappoint. So, yeah, let's just get into it. So, we'll start with the first card, or the first fight in the main card. Talk about Shara Bullet. I kind of thought it was what I thought was going to happen. He was going to win, and yeah, that's exactly what happened. Great performance from him. To be honest, I think he's one of his tougher tests because, most of the fight, it was a little bit more of a harder fight, and I think he didn't look maybe... Well, no, I shouldn't say that. He did look comfortable, but I think, maybe he wasn't landing as many shots as he always did. It was a little bit more of a back and forth, and then out of nowhere, he comes in and hits an insane, spinning back fist to spinning back elbow, which is nuts. Knocked him out just like that, and that was it. That's how he won it. So, congrats to him. I think he's 15-0 now. I'm curious to see what he does next. He's a great striker. Yeah, it'll be a good fight. Next, we had Dan Ige versus Murphy. That fight went exactly how I thought. Dan Ige's a dog. But I think Murphy just probably edged it out a little bit and went to decision just like I thought it would. Dan Ige didn't get put away from Diego Lopez, so I didn't think he'd get put away from him either. Ige knocked Murphy down, and Lerone got up from it, and he stayed up, and he finished the rest of the fight, and I do think he barely won the fight. Next was Rakic versus Magomed Ankalaev. That happened exactly how I thought. Ankalaev would win by decision. Didn't even really wrestle. Ankalaev didn't need to. His striking was great. It was that cross that he kept using. His left hand, he'd come back and pop Rakic with it. Rakic, I think, had more significant strikes. I don't remember exactly the numbers, so forgive me, but I do believe that I think he just threw more punches. Maybe not more, but I think he's more accurate with his punches. And he had a better shot selection. He sat down more in the shots, and he picked better punches. So, yeah, I think I believe he won that. I think it was a good overall, no major judge, screw-ups. I started watching from the main event, so if anything before that, I don't know. But no major judge screw-ups. Before we get into the next one, I'm just going to say, with the UFC videos, I don't know if I'll be doing the whole card like this all the time. I was just doing the whole card because this is one of the more stat cards in a long time, I feel like, for the UFC. So I felt like it was kind of had to cover most of the card because I'm kind of skimming through it just because that'd be a super long video if I broke down every fight. But I think it's worth it to go through it because this is a super stat card, so I'm just going to do that. But speaking of stat cards, let's go to the co-main event. Robert Whittaker, Bobby Knuckles versus Khamzat Chimaev. Gotta be honest, I was shocked. Shouldn't say shocked. I was a little surprised. I mean, Khamzat did what he always does, but Robert Whittaker's been on a tear recently, let's be honest. I'm not the only one that thought Robert was going to win. I thought Holloway was going to win too. But that didn't happen that way. I just thought Chimaev looked a little bit off this fight weekend. He hadn't fought in a little bit. He pulled out of the fight. He's been sick. Stuff like that, and I thought Whittaker had his number. I thought Whittaker's wrestling was good enough not to get submitted, and initially it was when Khamzat took him down. I mean, he manhandled him, took him down first, but initially Robert was getting away from him. He wasn't getting taken down. But I mean, Khamzat's just so strong. I mean, he is a big guy, even for 185. I don't know how he makes it. I've heard that he's way bigger in person. But yeah, he's so strong at 185. And he just took Whittaker out, and it was like a panic tap from Robert. If you saw the photos, I think he dislocated Robert's jaw. Honestly, I was kind of sad. I'd like to see Robert win because I'd like to see him get back up there. But we'll see what happens from here. Hamza was, I think, number 11. Or no, not number 11, number 8. But I think he waits out the fight of Sean and Dricus whenever that's going to be scheduled. And I think he gets in line next. I know Alex wants a shot at Dricus if Sean doesn't do it. But I know he trains with Sean, so he kind of wants to respect his territory over there. But we'll see. I think Alex should go and knock off Dricus because Dricus is... I don't know. I don't like him for some reason. So that was a great fight. A little bit disappointing for me. I wanted Robert to win, but Chimaev, he was the favorite going into it, but it was just a little bit more surprising than I thought, at least in the first round. But that's how he is. He's aggressive, and he put him away. So props to him. I'm excited to see what happens next with Chimaev. All right, main event time. Holloway versus Topuria, the fight we'd all been waiting for. Went to the third round, but sadly, Max Holloway got knocked out. Not what I thought would happen. I thought Max Holloway would win by decision. I think Max won the first round for sure. I don't quite remember the second round. I think he might have won the second round or Ilya. It was close. Third round, obviously, Ilya won. Max looked great in the first round. He said he had a great training camp, no injuries or anything like that. He was doing well with the movement. Well, you didn't hear my video because I was out of focus the whole time. But basically, I was saying Max's key to victory was use his movement. And don't let Ilya close the distance, close the gap. And that's how he knocked him out. But I was saying he needed to use his lateral movement to get out of there. In the first round, he was. Ilya would come towards him, charge at him towards the cage. And Max would do it against Gaethje, back up or slide like this and get out of the way and go back to the middle of the octagon. Which, by the way, Ilya did do what he said. He was going to stand there for the first 10 seconds. It was pretty anticlimactic. But anyway, Max, I think, looked great in the first round. He landed some big shots on Ilya. The height difference was pretty crazy to see. Like, Ilya looked really short next to him. But he's such a good striker. The second round, Ilya was a little more confident. He landed a couple more shots, I think, if I remember right. Max still looked good. Like we know Max is a good gas tank, a good chin. Like he didn't really surprise us. He looked how he did kind of in the Gaethje fight. He said he felt good too. He looked good. It's just Ilya is an insane opponent. Round 3 came by. Ilya started landing more. Max still was fighting good, but his distance wasn't being kept as much. And Ilya started closing the gap more, like I said, what he needs to avoid. And, Ilya just started landing more shots, and then that right hand came across, and it wobbled Max like, I don't know how it didn't put him down. It shows the chin that Max has, but, I mean, he came up, like I said, closed the gap. He got out of the void, and, he came into striking distance with Max, and every time Max got hit by Ilya, it was against the cage. Ilya put him against the cage, and he'd cut him off. But whenever he didn't cut him off, Max would get out of the way, and he wouldn't get hit. And that's what Max needed to try to keep doing. But Ilya cut him off, and Ilya came in with just like a huge right hand right on the chin, right in the middle of his face. It was crazy. Max stumbled back. Max kind of gathered himself there for a minute. It was like maybe 20 seconds. I don't know. It felt like a long time in the middle of the fight. I felt like he gathered himself a little bit. Max was throwing back a little bit, and I think he was kind of chilling for a minute. Ilya landed another one, and then clean left hook right to the chin, right to the temple, like just nailed him, and Max went out, and Max got dropped, and he did a couple of hammer fists, and that was it. But I can't lie, it was really sad to see Max get dropped. He didn't really where he was looking up and stuff like that. It was pretty sad to see. So I think he said he's going to go back up to 155. He said he felt better up there. He said he's pretty much done everything at featherweight. He's tried a couple times, and the new guys are coming up. He's like, I'm just going to leave it. Probably go up to the lightweight. That honestly seems like where that's some of the older, more experienced fighters with Gaethje, Poirier, Chandler, Oliveira, like all those guys. That's probably more competitive for him up there anyway, and probably more what he'd like fights and stuff like that. I know Dana talked about a BMF fight between him, Gaethje, and Poirier, like a tournament in one night, and I think maybe Chandler, which would be insane. I'd love to see that happen. That would be, if they did that like the old UFC days, that would be insane. I'd love to watch that. So maybe that'll happen. It's probably a slim possibility, but maybe Daniel will do it for the BMF title. That'd be sick. Let's just talk about Ilya real quick. He didn't even use his ground game. He took Max down once in the first round, and Max got up. But Ilya is such a complete fighter. It's insane. His jiu-jitsu is world class, and he doesn't even have to use it yet. His striking is that good. I mean, that guy has insane power for 145. Like he should not have that type of power for being a featherweight, and he does. Like, he cracked Max Holloway, and we know Max Holloway he's known for having a good chin, and he put him down pretty much twice. I mean, the first one with his right hand that one was just clean. Then the left hook to Max just put him straight down to the ground. I mean, that was crazy. And, yeah, I don't know. I just can't get over the power that he has. Obviously, he knocked down Volk and stuff like that, and Josh Emmett, so I don't know. I'm curious to see what happens next with Ilya. I think him and Volk may fight twice. Diego Lopez was there. Diego Lopez and Ilya would be a great fight, I think. I still think Ilya would take him out. Ilya's a little more technical, and Diego is a little more aggressive, so I think a 5-round fight would probably suit Ilya better. Volk, I'd like to see a rematch with Volk. I know Ilya also talked about going up and, fighting Islam, which I think would be an interesting fight. With, Ilya's jiu-jitsu, I just think Islam's too strong. He said he wanted to be the first person to submit Islam. I don't know if that'll happen. He can knock Islam out for sure. I believe that. But I don't know. I don't know. It'd be an interesting fight. If he gets on the ground with Islam's too strong. I don't know if he could very well get submitted, but Ilya's jiu-jitsu is good, so maybe he can, outlast it. But I don't know. We'll see. Dustin could knock him out, but I don't know. Dustin also got taken down 3 times and didn't have as much time on the ground. So we'll see what happens. UFC 308 was a great fight, though. We got 309 next, John Jones and Stipe. That'll be a great fight. I'm really excited for that. Yeah, this is a great card. I'm excited to see the UFC 309. It's a pretty good card, too. I think we got a couple of UFC fight nights, not too big. I'm going to keep up on some of the media, try to cover some of that, because I'm going to try to put out a video once a week. It would have been a week yesterday, but my video didn't come out, obviously, for it. So we're going to do this one, and I'm going to try to keep it every week. We got the Paul and Tyson fight coming up in 3 weeks, so that'll be good. That's actually a pretty stacked card, so I'm excited for that. Like I said, like I always say, excited to see what happens next with these fighters and their career paths. But thanks for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next video.